because I went to Estonian Music Week last year and loved it. And I was talking with a friend of mine who's the musical director there, Thomas Truluth. And I said to Thomas, you know, you've got amazing tech in Estonia, so you should add tech to the music festival. So he said, well, it's a great idea, and brought me in to meet all the local people and all the organizers. And so they liked the idea. And so now here I am, sort of director of it inadvertently.
The mission for Latitude44 is really to build a bridge. On one side of the bridge, we have Estonia. Estonia has a great digital story and has a lot of things that they've created that are of interest to the other side of the world that doesn't have this kind of capability. But there's a lack of general visibility. And then on the other side of the bridge, we have Toronto, Canada, North America, who is starting to get pieces of the Estonian story, but they don't have the full story until you go there and see it. But it's a long way to go. So with this bridge, we'll be able to start communicating back and forth.
One of the measures of success will not just be the connections, it's partly awareness raising. Because when I talk to people, even in tech here in Canada, they're not really aware of the Estonian story. A few of them are, and then they get fascinated by it. As soon as you have 2 or 3 minutes of their time and you explain 4 or 5 unicorns and the first digital society and 44% voting online and etc., health and education, they go, oh my God, I didn't know that. So I think just the awareness, and we built the social media up around this. So we've got tens of thousands of engagements on the various videos and hundreds of thousands in terms of the reach. So I think that's already starting to be a success in terms of people understanding that Estonia has something to be able to contribute to the rest of us. Yeah, I think what Estonians can really bring is they've managed to be able to develop public trust in e-solutions. And that's really remarkable because of all the hacking scandals and Cambridge Analytica and all that. So there are really lessons to be learned by Canadians about how do you develop the trust in e-government and get to the point that you have in Estonia. That's one portion. I think they've also done this really economically and had smart ways to scale. So rather than building big centralized databases and things, they've done it more decentralized. And then the other area, particularly in the startups area, is the combination of government and private companies working, so public-private participation. And I think that's something that Canada could really learn from. Estonia
has figured digital out. They have a working solution. It's been in place for 20 years now. And in Estonian, it's normal. That's just a normal thing of life. And Estonia has a desire to export that kind of capability and share that, just like they did with Finland. So we want to bring that into Toronto. But Toronto also has a lot to offer. Toronto has that expat community. It has an open mind, but it is such a vibrant tech scene. It's multicultural. It's open for business. It's an opportunity that should not be missed for either one.
It's really all about the connection, because if you meet someone and you get to understand them a bit better. One example, I was at an international conference and met a guy from Australia, and we started talking. It turned out he had a really interesting product and service that we hadn't really thought of in Canada. And so once we hit it off, eventually I ended up importing that service into Canada as a business line. So, but you can really only do that if you understand the other person and you meet them. You can't really do it by remote control. So that's making those connections is really important, and being able then to follow up and build on them.
I would sort of recount my own journey. In 2013, there was a tech delegation that came here from Estonia with President Ilves. And that's the first time I was introduced to what's really going on in Estonia. I'd been there for cultural things and family kinds of things, but really didn't understand the technology. So the story came out about digital government and X-Road and all this kind of stuff. And having worked in the industry for 25 years at the time, that was of interest, but I was very skeptical. I was like, how can they have built this kind of capability there when we've been struggling with it for such a long time here? So in 2014, there was an ICT conference, and that was a good follow-on to go and see for myself. And I went there and I took part in the conferences. I took part in the Garage 48 hackathon. I met a lot of people, and it was true. I was astounded that it was true. So I came back and started telling the story of what is going on over in Estonia. And again, people, it wasn't resonating. It was maybe a little bit early in the cycle that digital disruption wasn't really taking hold, and people weren't really listening. But they were making the same kind of mistakes over and over again. So it seemed like it was important for that message to keep coming through there. The other funny thing that I didn't actually expect was when I went to Estonia, they had really no idea of what's going on here in Toronto. They don't understand that Toronto is the largest expat Estonian center, population center outside of Finland. That we have tens of thousands of people here. We have an Estonian credit union. We have Estonian university seat. We've got Estonian camps. We've got all sorts of real estate things. And when we're telling that story here, again, Estonians like, always the question came back is, so you're from Toronto, how do you speak Estonian so well? And I would tell the story, but it didn't sink in. So Latitude44 is an opportunity for both sides to meet together to understand each other a lot better.
I think we've tried to design something a little different than the huge conferences that you have in Toronto. We've really tried to keep it in a space like this, which is intimate, smaller group, that you'll really be able to meet people and talk to them, and you won't feel like they disappear into a throng of people. And I think that's important. And also being able to go to the music events or go to the dinners with people, then I think that will be useful as well.